What up, military family? Tondero Twins in the building. I'm Phil.
And I'm Alvin.
And welcome to Value in All Veterans. Here with episode 2 of the show/podcast. If you didn't check out the first episode that we did last week, please go to our YouTube channel and check it out. Like and subscribe while you're at it if you like what you see. Alvin, what's good, man?
I'm hanging in there, man. You know, it's our cousin's birthday today. It's Halloween. Different time for it to be Halloween. You know, people are doing different things with how they're going to do trick-or-treating and all that. But just happy to be here, do another round with you. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. You know, Halloween, got your niece out here getting her dressed up as a witch, and they had the daycare Halloween party and everything. So she's real excited. She has an idea what's going on and just had a good time getting dressed up. We have a panda suit for her too, but we'll probably save that for next year. But I think she's going to be pretty excited for trick-or-treating. They're doing it out here. The cases are relatively low in rural PA, out in central PA, and the mayor authorized, having, socially distanced trick-or-treating and, having your candy kind of a little bit in front of your porch so people don't have to make too much contact. So they got a game plan out here trying to get the kids, to feel some sort of normalcy. So it's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. Yeah, man. So let me see. Okay, just making sure my vocals is on. All right, but last episode, we talked a little bit about transitioning out and what it was like, leading up to that point, and then some of the challenges we faced. But this episode, we want to focus a little bit more on the challenges, immediately before we got out and then right after we got out, because it's an inrush of emotions, a lot of things you got to take care of. And just want to talk about that experience, with you. We both experienced that. I got out before you did, which is a whole thing in itself. But, what was it like for you a month before you left the military? Like, what were you feeling? And, what did they have you doing, your unit and the military, to have you transition out? And what were you kind of going through at that time?
I had went through. Well, I guess it didn't really hit me until you finally declare with I guess the personnel flight. I know there's like some real official email you send to them to confirm, and they'll keep sending it to you until you confirm that you're going to separate or not. Once you do that, that's kind of when it really hits you that you're going through with the process.
Right.
So once that happened, I had already been getting my resume together. I kind of knew what was coming already. Kind of speaks back to having that experience before we got in, kind of what to expect when we got out. So probably a little less than a year before I got out, I was already getting my resume together, getting all the skills I had together, putting it on the resume, getting it on those job sites, reaching out to recruiters and whatnot. So I kind of already had that process already going for myself. But once I confirmed it, it's kind of funny because a lot of like the people in your squadron and stuff start to hear about it. Everyone's asking you kind of what your plan is and what. Yeah, and you not necessarily that they're judging your plan or anything like that, but it's almost like when they ask you, sometimes you almost feel they're not asking for you, they're kind of asking for themselves. Like,
right, yeah.
What is he doing that I might need to do, or what is he doing that I don't want to do? So there was a lot of that going on. I didn't really have, like I said before, having a job.
One question: while you were in and other folks were separating, did you do the same thing? where you ask them questions?
I was more so I was just curious, like where they were moving to.
Mm-hmm.
More so, were they going to stay in the same career field? It was kind of basic. I never dug into a lot of the granular things about their process of getting out. I kind of was I always wanted to just make sure they were okay. Were they happy with the way it was all going and stuff? Some people felt confident about it. I always felt relieved when I saw people. You could tell by their tone, the way they speak. You could tell the ones that really believe in the plan that they have set up, the ones that really feel like they know what they're getting into when they get out. You can see the other ones when they're explaining it, and they're fumbling their words, or that you don't feel a lot of confidence coming from the process that they've developed for themselves to get out. So you can kind of tell which ones are prepared and which ones isn't. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, once I got out, the first thing I was realizing was that I needed to find a job, and that's one thing people need to realize when they're applying for jobs early on, especially if you're applying for them in the government side, in the government sector. It's a slow process. Everything in the military is slow. Everything in the government, it's the same thing when you're looking for jobs in the government. So it took me a very long time to start getting some callbacks, which is why you should definitely start that process early, because I didn't even start getting my first phone calls till maybe a month before I got out.
Right.
So that's a big thing people need to realize. And while you're prepping for all that, you're getting all your records together, getting your disability package with the VA together. You got a lot of other things to do while you're doing that.
Well, let yeah. What little things did they do for you in TAPS? Like, for the viewers out there that don't know what TAPS is, maybe military members who haven't gone through it yet, or just anybody that just is learning about the process. Just real briefly, like TAPS, like what is it, and what type of speakers or activities do they have you do to kind of get ready for the transition?
There were things. The first thing I realized was, and it was kind of big for a lot of people, was that you have to show up in business casual civilian clothes. It was kind of weird doing that when you first go in, because that's kind of when you're realizing, okay, I will not be wearing a uniform anymore after.
Uh,
So that was kind of a big change for me. But once you get in, they touch on a lot of things. They really stress the financial part, which they
mm,
should, because the financial part is huge. They want to make sure you have some kind of financial plan together. They make you think about a lot of the expenses you're going to be incurring now that you're not in the military anymore. They prep you for interviews. They want to get you kind of thinking about what career you want to jump into, whether it's like entrepreneurship, do you want to stay in the same career field that you're in right now? They also want to make sure that you're aware of all your benefits, like schooling. Are you utilizing your TSP? They cover a lot of things actually.
hold on. Break that down. What's TSP?
Your thrift savings plan.
Okay, so what is that?
Basically, if you're putting, personally, I didn't do it. I had a Roth IRA already that I had money, a savings plan. I was already putting money into that. So I didn't utilize the TSP, but they definitely foot stomped that a lot. And I'm not downplaying the TSP. Part of me kind of wishes I did do it, but
For the and hold on, and for the view, right, and for the viewers out there, we'll be going into a little bit of some financial planning. Have some finance experts coming in to break down the thrift savings plan as opposed to Roth IRAs when it comes to investment accounts for retirement. The military with the thrift savings plan does put you in some sort of financial position, whether you're only a couple of enlistments, you spend half time, you go to retirement. They offer that opportunity for you to start saving in an account to get you ready for retirement on the back end of your career. So we'll be breaking that down later on as well. I just wanted to chime that in there. But is there anything else they get you ready for in TAPS?
The interview was a big part. The benefits was a big part. They show you how to navigate the veterans website, va.gov. They did a good job with that. It's also kind of cool to see the ranks. You see so many, you're used to only being around enlisted, but in there you're with officers, you're in there with a lot of different ranks, and they all they still have the same questions you have, very basic questions, because it's a new journey somewhat for them too. So it kind of makes you feel like you don't feel alone in that sense. So definitely some advice too. Don't be afraid to ask any kind of questions. I think the financial part was the biggest part that a lot of people had questions on. People didn't know if they had enough money saved up. They're all very concerned with the expenses. What is the military still going to cover when you get out? You know, I didn't have a family or anything, so there was a whole aspect I wasn't even worried about that. I know a lot of people will be too. So, you know, we'll get some people on here that were transitioning that had families already, because that's a whole nother lane that me and you weren't even in yet, that we can't so much speak to. But they cover a lot of ground in terms of your transition.
I found a lot of
value in the budgeting aspect too, like you explained. I mean, they really foot stomped that. Like, I think it was part of your checklist to leave TAPS. You have, first off, TAPS is a mandated program by the government that every troop has to do before they separate from the military. It's not optional. You have to do it, and it's for your own best interest too. But one of the big checklists was the financial security, the financial planning, and then you writing out your budget, and then they have someone sit down with you and go through it to make sure it makes sense and you're not just BSing it. Because for those of you who are about to transition out and are going through TAPS or will go through TAPS, take it seriously, because you're going to use everything that they give you when you separate. So it's really important that you take advantage of those experts that they have that give you their knowledge of how to plan, how to budget, accounts, investment accounts, the education benefits. I think they did a good job in that sense. I think there's some other things they could have done better, but that's another, conversation we can have about critiquing the transition TAPS program for the military, getting troops ready. So next question is,
one other thing I wanted to add was,
go ahead.
Take advantage of TAPS, because I like to look at it like this is literally one of the last times the military is still kind of paying attention to you, in a sense.
Ooh,
they're
come
still
on.
investing those resources in you and everything, and so soak all that up, because I'm telling you, once you're out, they cut it off it's a pretty clean cut. Also, you don't have to be declared separating to go to TAPS. You don't have to. Even if you just wanted to go to it to experience it. Now, I know it's different if you have obligations with your squadrons or whatever group you're with, and you can't necessarily have, I think it's a week or 2 weeks, however long TAPS is. If you have the time allocated to take it and you want to experience it before you actually officially go through it, I definitely recommend that, just so it's not all hitting you at once as you're transitioning and out. Personally, I think I should have done TAPS way before I did it, like initially, because then it wouldn't have been such a shock to me in terms of the amount of information they give you, because they give you a lot. But that's just something I wanted to put into there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once you go through TAPS, then it's time to go.
Right.
It's time to leave the gate.
What about you though? Like, how was it like for you when a month before you got out?
I mean, essentially, I had some of the same experiences as you. It was one of those things where I transitioned out before you did. So I was definitely seeing it the first time. I was coming in contact with getting your, initial and final physical when it comes to disability, getting your ratings, which everyone I highly recommend you pay attention to in there. When they talk about disability and getting your ratings and getting evaluated, pay close attention to what they're telling you in there, because it's very important, And going through that, they had some good guest speakers in there that spoke from different industries uh, out there. When you transition out, some people worked for the government, some were entrepreneurs, others were, finance experts. Saw a lot of different people that spoke and gave us, some good wisdom. And I took advantage of the budgeting and planning on that side. I really like that, but it was interesting being in that room, just like you said, in civilian clothes. And you really understand that at the end of the day, when we take the uniform off or when we actually have just civilian clothes on, like, there is no rank anymore. That's when it really starts to hit you. Like, rank structure doesn't matter out here. You know what I mean? Now, amongst veterans, we understand how rank works, even when you separate. If someone tells you that they were an officer, they were a lieutenant or major, admiral, X, Y, and Z, you're going to give them some respect, and be like, wow, you was doing your thing. But, when you're in TAPS and you see everybody all in the same clothes, it's like, you got to kind of switch it on and off. Like, okay, rank doesn't really matter. It kind of does matter in TAPS still, because, but you start to understand that the transition is happening. Like, it's not going to matter as much anymore when you get out. And that's when it really hits you initially, on that aspect of, wow, this is really about to go down, So my experience was pretty, I think it was pretty standard. I mean, I knew I was ready to get out too. It wasn't one of those things where I was kind of making a choice. You see people in there who are kind of, poking around, trying to get ready for the idea. Some people are retiring, and that, that's a huge Yeah, that's a huge accomplishment too. They're getting ready, but they face a lot of the challenges even one-time enlistment people like us face. It's all the same. You could, depending on your job, you might be able to transition a little smoother. Some people, they can't transition as much in a smoother fashion just because of the type of job that they had while they were in the military. And that's why they try to give you the tools on how to, put your resume together to make it mesh with other career fields that you could, slide into. So there's a lot of challenges getting out. And, going to the next question, when you left the military, like for the last time, left the gate, it's really wild, man. When you leave the gate for the last time, you're like, wow, like, it's really on some, like, it's kind of epic in your mind, but you're really just kind of just going out the gate or whatever. But, you know, you out now. And so what happened next right after you got out? Where did you go? What did you do?
It was interesting. I actually out processed overseas, which you can do that at certain bases. I don't believe it's available at all bases, but I did it out of Korea. And it was kind of interesting because once my tour was done there, I finished, everybody's on the plane going back to the States, and I'm literally getting on the plane like I'm out. Like I remember telling a couple guys that I just separated, like I'm done after this, and everybody kind of was clapping for me. Everybody was standing up. Everybody was all excited. Just it's kind of nice, to feel that kind of support too. Like because I guess in a way they kind of feel it too. Like this guy finished. This guy's getting out. Everyone's entertaining the idea, but when you see somebody actually going through with it, I think that's where the excitement comes from for them too. So
Yeah, they're proud of you. Yeah.
we're originally from the DMV, the DC area, and I decided to, which is also nice about getting out, you have choices again, you have mobility again, and I wanted to try out living in California. I always wanted to live there, so I put some steps in place to make sure I got there. We had one of our good friends already living there in LA, so I was going to live with. We were in a room together, and I had shipped all my stuff there, and the recruiter that had reached out to me, was already in the works of, he had lined up a job for me with Northrop Grumman, big government contractor. And that actually fell through while I was pretty much en route to LA. So one thing I want to stress to everyone is are going to happen. You have to expect the unexpected. That's kind of what you lose from the military. A lot of the military can be pretty predictable in a lot of ways, but now you've opened yourself up to a lot of changing waves and seasons and
Uncertainty.
just a lot of unexpected events happening, and you have to really be able to think critically, think on your feet, and make sure you have contingencies in place, as even if it's money or a place to go or anything, because things are going to happen, things are going to fall through, and that's what happened with me in that one contract. I was supposed to work out of I believe it was Redondo Beach, beautiful place, by the way. I was looking forward to that. I told everybody that was the job I took, because essentially that's what they had lined up for me.
And wait, Alvin, for the viewers, just let them know what did you do in the military? What was your job?
Okay, so I was a 3 Delta 1X1. It was in the cyber career field. I was a client systems technician, basically like a desktop engineer, doing a lot of
So IT.
yeah, basically in the IT industry.
Okay.
Working with computers and whatnot. So the recruiter that had lined me up with that job, was obviously trying to put me in an IT job as well, which he did, but that fell through. So when I got to LA, I was pretty bummed already. I had all my stuff. I had, I needed to make sure I had income coming in, because I was on the clock at that point. I was literally using money that I had already saved just to get by, because I assumed I was already going to have a job, supplementing what I had already saved, but that didn't happen. So I was kind of on a time crunch. Ended up doing an interview with another job that the recruiter had lined up for me, and that actually went through. And in that interview, I guess I was a little nervous, because, I mean, even though I had experience with life before the military, you still have to kind of dust off the cobwebs and whatnot, and be prepared for whatever questions they're going to ask you and whatnot. So they asked me a lot of the things I expected, but the thing that kind of works in your favor when you're a vet, I reiterated that I was one. And then there was a few people that said they had family that had served. Sometimes the conversation segues a little bit, and you kind of build on that. You get to build some rapport there, and they just really respect the discipline you have, just the way they know you're going to connect with customers, and it just gives them such positive visibility. Like, I'm not going to say I was confident. I wasn't going to say that I got the job already, but I felt when I walked out of there, I felt very comfortable that they knew what I was bringing to the table. The skills I already had developed in the military, but also just being from the military itself.
Right.
They saw me as a huge asset. And eventually, a day later, I got the call and I got the job. For the most part, pretty seamless transition for me. I think a lot of that is dictated by the career field you choose, but also just the steps you take to put yourself in position to, land those jobs. Make sure that you're ready for those interviews, because there were some questions I wasn't prepared for, more so on the technical side. But one thing you'll learn with employers is they want to make sure if you're a good fit, if you're going to fit with the team, because they can train you on things. They can't train you on customer service or how to work with others. Those are real soft skills that they can't develop, or they don't necessarily want to develop right now. And I developed a lot of that while I was in the military. And a lot of them will take a chance on you already, because they assume that you already have those skills. So that was overall my experience initially getting out. pretty much landed on my feet. I had a little hiccup with that first job, but overall, I can't say that I struggled too much.
Mm.
But what about you? How did it work out for you?
I mean, I was an electrician when I got out in the Air Force. I was an electrician, 3E0X1. That was my AFSC. That's an Air Force specialty code. All other branches have certain little abbreviations that explain what their job is. But when I got out, I knew I didn't really want to be an electrician. I didn't. I was kind of done with civil engineering. I always had an idea I wanted to get into maybe real estate at some point, and I learned a lot in civil engineering. I worked with structures, carpenters, I worked with plumbers, water people, power production people. So working around those trades, I feel like I've really had a sense of, construction or how to build something. But I wanted to get into like business and management because we went to Hampton University, got our degree in business management. So I kind of wanted to get into more of a managerial role somewhere. Got out, didn't want to go back to the East Coast just yet. I was stationed in Travis Air Force Base. That's in Fairfield, California, right outside the Bay Area, and kind of still wanted to hang out on the West. So we had our aunt living in Vegas. Shout out to Minty. And I was like, okay, I'll head over to Las Vegas, Nevada. I'll move over there, whatever. I never lived. I visited. I visited once, but never thought I'd ever live there. But hey, some advice to people who are about to transition out: keep an open mind. You don't know where you're gonna end up. You don't know. You might get somewhere and you don't like it, but you don't know. You might like it. You don't know how long you're gonna be anywhere. So just when you first get out, have that confidence. You are a veteran. You deserve everything. And that's the biggest thing I like to break down to people is veterans, we don't want handouts. We're not expecting for people to clap and stand up for us every time we walk in a room, nothing like that. We don't want anybody's pity. It was a choice of ours, but it was a very honorable choice that we made. We're just looking for an opportunity and looking for an opportunity to show what we have and show that we have what it takes to, integrate back into society in the workforce. We just want an opportunity. That's it. We don't want anybody laying anything out for us. So those of you that are getting out, man, walk out with your head high, believe in your skills, prepare accordingly, which that's what we do in the military. If there's anything that we do, we put together contingencies in case things don't go wrong, and we prepare. That's what we do. So when you get out, do the same thing. It's all going to come naturally. The environment's a little different, but at the end of the day, even when you're looking for work, be prepared. Know your skills. You believe in yourself. You can make it out here, and believe it or not, a lot of companies out here do value vets. So put that in the back of your mind too, but don't go in thinking they're just going to hand you a job because you're a vet, even when they have the laws in place saying, your resume goes to the top. That's happened probably sometimes for me, and I still didn't get a job, So don't go out here thinking that that's just going to happen and you're going to find work, because that didn't happen for me. And it was one of those things where I wanted a managerial job, but I just couldn't land one. And I was in Vegas, obviously a hustle town. I'm sitting here looking for managerial work, maybe for a State Department or some sort of government agency. Couldn't land nothing. It's all hustle out there. And Uber hit. I was struggling for bread, living for free with my aunt, but I needed money. And it's not like I was poor or anything. I had money saved up, but I was, you running through the savings really quick, and I wanted to get on my feet on my own. I needed some extra money, so I did Uber. Uber hit. That worked out for me for a while, driving around Vegas, met a lot of good people, connections too, always taking advantage of whatever opportunities I had in front of me. And from there, I met one of my business partners. I'm also the co-founder of hiphopsuccess.tv. And he was in real estate, He's from Los Angeles and said he makes all his money out in St. Louis and he needed a project manager for his portfolio in real estate. And I had civil engineering experience as an electrician. So I said, hey, I need some money and I want to learn some things in real estate. Will you put me on? And he did. So he flew me out to St. Louis, started hanging out there. I started managing his portfolio, learning a lot. Shout out to Bam, putting me on with that. That was really good. That was probably some of the best experience I ever had in remodeling homes. And go figure, I never thought I'd be living in the Midwest. Now I'm in the Midwest as a vet. I'm telling you, veterans out there, be open to opportunities. Don't shy away from an opportunity where you can learn, you can go to a new environment, because you never know what's going to happen. Because guess what? I moved out there. What did I find out there? Not just that I really liked and loved learning about real estate, but I ran into a girlfriend who's now my wife. I met my wife out there. She was in med school. Life is just going to happen. You got to roll with the punches and adjust. Veterans, we are built for this. We are hardwired to handle stress. But we all have limits too. You know, I had my challenges when I was in St. Louis doing project management, and then I eventually got away from it. I wasn't really making money at that point because I was trying to pivot into another more stable career, and nothing was really working out. And at one point, you know, I said, I got to make some money, and I had to put my ego aside and say, hey, I do have a degree, but at the same time, I need more money. I need money to come in, not even more money. I realized I needed some sort of stable income so that I could support me and my girl while she's in school. She had her own little money coming in, but, you know, we wanted to make things happen for us. So I worked at the front desk of a Marriott. I had to get some money, you know, and I humbled myself. I need veterans to understand you got to put your ego aside. That's how you really going to get ahead. Putting your ego aside, staying humble, and accepting opportunities when you don't have any. When you don't have any and one presents itself, sometimes you just got to slide in there, adjust, and then wait for the next opportunity to come. That's what I did. Worked at the hotel for almost a year. Then a State Department job came up in Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, and I got to work in the Department of Economic Development. Now I'm kind of moving up in the direction I was trying to go. So, you know, eventually I stayed there until we ended up moving from St. Louis and then moved to Pittsburgh. Shout out to Pittsburgh, Steelers. Um, my daughter's birthplace too, good city. And I worked there in Job Corps because I love working with doing youth development. Worked up there helping out kids and teaching them. I was a teacher out there. And that was a really good opportunity for me. And then I eventually transitioned into IT. Shout out to Alvin, put me on with some IT experience. I mean, I've been around, man. Like, you know, we built to adapt. That's what we do as vets. So, you know, but never at any moment did I not have some sort of trouble, turbulence, you know, but I kept a level head and I always had confidence in myself. You know, when things get really bad, just know I do belong here. I will make it happen. You need to tell yourself that. You need to, and not just tell yourself that, you got to believe it. That's the biggest thing. You're a vet. You have what it takes to make it work out here, period. We're built for it. So don't ever come out of the military thinking that you don't have what it takes, because you do. You are more built to last out here than most folks out here, civilians. You know what I'm saying?
I think the biggest thing, and you know, you had mentioned that too, is even though you're a vet, no one's going to hand you an opportunity. You're going to have to go take it, go get it, and prove yourself. They,
Fact.
they know you have the skills, but one thing on the outside, they want to see it. They
Mm.
they want to make sure that it's applicable. They're going to want to put eyes on you. They want to, you know, hear what you have to say, hear your views on things. You just really have to open up yourself. Be
Mm.
prepared for that, because just because you're a vet doesn't mean you're just going to land a job. Everyone's path's different. Everyone's Some people are going to transition a lot easier, some won't. But the thing that needs
Mm.
to remain consistent is the confidence in yourself. the opportunities will come as long as you believe that they'll come, and you humble yourself to take whatever is available, like you said, because that could open a door to something else you may want to do. So don't assume that every opportunity you take is gonna set you back. It could be setting you up for something even greater.
Facts, man. I mean, I was at the hotel. When I was working at the hotel, I was a front desk guy, but I love working with youth. I love personal development, and go figure. I'm in St. Louis at the Marriott. Who walks in and I get to talk to them for 30 minutes? Les Brown. Les Brown is one of the top motivational speakers in the world. And he actually, I told him I was a vet. I was a big fan of his. He literally sat down in the lobby with me. I told my manager, hey, can I sit down with Les Brown for 30 minutes? I got the picture. I'll put it up in the video on the post. But he was like, yeah, yeah, go ahead. And I got a lot of wisdom from him. I told him I really looked up to him. He said, you're doing your thing. It's very admirable of you and your journey. You have what it takes. Like, he just gave me a lot of confidence. I would like Les Brown, y'all. Like, this was crazy. But again, I'm just taking advantage of whatever opportunity I get. And even in front desk, I got customer service experience. I got to handle, very, you know, hard and stressful situations trying to help guests get what they need you learn about empathy because when I go to a hotel, I want my stuff a certain way. So I had to put my ego aside even then because they're mad about stuff and they have a right to be because I know if I was in their shoes, I would feel the same way. A lot of conflict resolution I had to learn, just always trying to learn whatever opportunity or environment I'm in. That's the goal that I was trying to do that really set me up for success. And I think a lot of vets, if when they get out and realize I just need to take in whatever I put myself next to or in front of, that's going to put you in position down the line for other opportunities that show themselves. You know what I mean? Facts, man. So, hey, man, this was a good episode. Had a good time talking to you, Alvin, man. We always chopping it up. We got so much to cover when it comes to transitioning, man. Like, we got plenty of time. This is a great show. Value on all veterans. Again, our platform, our goal is to help alleviate any anxiety or fear military members may have about life outside the gate as a veteran. Alvin, you got any last words? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, just we want to instill confidence in all the vets out there. We want to level with you and make you realize that, well, maybe a lot of the things we said today is a lot of the things you're feeling.
Mm.
If you have anything you want us to bring to the platform or anything you want us to discuss, you can contact us directly, leave a comment. If there's any information you want to relay over to us that you may want us to present, we could handle that as well. But at the end of the day, you matter. Veterans, we matter. We have a lot to give. We have a lot to offer. Don't shy away from opportunities. Probably the biggest thing we could take from this episode is, like Bruce Lee said, you just got to be water. You got to flow with whatever comes to you. Learn everything you
Mm.
can and adapt, because that's what we're built to do, is adapt. And things
Mm.
are going to change, but you have to change with them. And honestly, that's kind of the beauty of getting out too. You get to grow twice as much because life is going to teach you so much from a lot of the unexpected things that will happen. So just take everything you experience as a growing opportunity, because even today I'm growing more, you're growing more, we're all growing. And just don't shy away from any opportunity that's given to you, obviously after you transition, you're experiencing those things. And if you are feeling down, lean on the people that have transitioned as well, or just any support systems you have, any communities you have, because we're not saying it's going to be easy, but you can do this. We're doing it right now, and just believe in yourself. So, it was good. It was good to talk to you again. I'm looking forward to the next episode, bringing you guys more content on this platform. So
Facts,
yeah,
Facts,
man.
man. Facts. Hey, man. So We're going to go ahead and sign off here. We got some little videos we're going to post on IG. Follow us on IG at valueandall_vets. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out our first episode. Leave us a comment. Anything you want us to chime in on, just like Alvin said before. Again, it's the Tondero Twins here. I'm Phil.
And I'm Alvin.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all soon, all right?
Peace.
Peace.
Take it easy, y'all.